Hi guys, welcome to week 4 of COM 705. I think everybody is off to a really great start. Your critical reviews are solid. I'm going to actually use those to study for quals because you've done a nice job of giving the important points and really summarizing those theories well. So that may be something you want to do in the future. Today I just want to talk to you about a theory that's one of my favorites, and it's in chapter 7, what you're going to be reading this week of your Little John and Foss text, and it's social penetration theory. I used it to write my final paper for this class, so it became near and dear to me, but I'll talk to you a little bit more about how I did that in a second. If you think that this theory is one that you might be able to use for your final paper or just for research in the future, or maybe you're just interested in it, send me an email and I can send you more information on it. I have some links and things that might be helpful to you if you're interested. So your book describes social penetration theory as part of the socio-psychological tradition. And our authors say that there was a lot of research going on about relationships, and that yes, the complexities of relationship development isn't fully covered by this one theory, but we know that all theories have limitations. None can explain all phenomenon. But what I think this one really does well is describes a reason or one way of looking at how relationships can go into deeper levels of intimacy, and then why some relationships don't ever get there. Maybe someone you've known for years and you never really self-disclose. So the cost and rewards portion of that, it helps explain that. So I think this is a good theory that you can use when you're talking about interpersonal relationships. So just in a nutshell, social penetration theory was developed by Altman and Taylor in 1973, and they wanted to get more specific about the dynamics of relationship development. So they saw that there is a lot going on, and we want to get more specific. They use the metaphor of an onion to describe that getting into those layers, and kind of like what a person is a multi-layered thing. So the onion is a good metaphor for that. And if you've ever seen the first Shrek movie, there's a scene in there where he says, "Hey donkey, you know what ogres are like? We're like onions because we have layers." So basically, maybe you don't know all about me right now because there's more down deep. So I think that's social penetration theory in a nutshell. So what you have is breadth and depth when it comes to self-disclosure. So breadth being the number of topics that you will talk with someone about and kind of disclose about. And then the depth really is just what it sounds like. How much will you go in detail about that? How much will you self-disclose? How much private stuff will you let that person in on? So then we look at the stages. Basically, you think about that onion again, the layers or the levels. First would be the outer layer of the onion, that orientation stage. So basically, that's public information. Just like an onion, anyone could see that. It's on the outside. So you may talk about the weather. You may communicate to someone based on what you're dressed like or what kind of car you drive. So this is public information. The second layer, the second level, is the exploratory affective stage, and that's where there's a little bit deeper information that is shared. It's not stuff that the general public knows, but it's a little bit more in-depth, a little bit more intimate. So this could be things like your family, specifics about your family, or things about your career that just everybody doesn't know. The third layer or level is the affective stage. And here is where people start to really get into some intimate topics. So this could be things like something traumatic that's happened, or positive experiences, victories that you've had in your personal life, those types of things. The last layer is the stable stage. So that's the core of the onion, and that's as in-depth and as intimate as a relationship can go. In the stable stage, that core of the onion, nothing else is a secret. Nothing, you can't really get any deeper. Nothing is a secret between two people. So that's the highest level of intimacy, and really that person entrusts their lives to this other person and those intimate details. The second piece to social penetration theory is going to sound a lot like social exchange theory, and it's that cost-reward analysis. So we know that as we go deeper into those layers of personality, those become more intimate. those relationships become more intimate. But what makes the difference as to whether or not they go there is if the person feels like that relationship and that self-disclosure is more beneficial than it is costly. So if that person feels like that they are giving up more than they're getting back and the costs outweigh the rewards by however you measure costs and rewards, then they are likely to kind of pull away from that person. That intimacy will either be stifled or you can go through depenetration. So maybe if you give a lot of intimate details to someone and then they betray your trust, or you start to go into two different paths in life, your values change, something like that, then you can start to depenetrate and basically come back out to those, again, public layers of information. So what I did for this class was I used social penetration theory to describe something that it really wasn't intended to describe, but I make the claim that it can describe, which is the parent-child communication relationship, and how self-disclosure is really important to parent-child communication when it comes to intimate topics like sex, which is what I do most of my research on. Parent-child communication, what they are telling their kids about sex, and that intimacy that is required if you're going to talk to your kids about something like sex is not there, I argued, if they don't go through all those layers of the onion. So if you are expecting your child to pour their heart out about somebody that they're dating or feelings that they're having about sex, you have to penetrate those outer layers. You can't just say, well, I'm your mom, so you should tell me. You have to first disclose about yourself and go into those inner layers. That child has to feel like that it's a rewarding experience to talk to you and to share and to self-disclose. So that's what I argued. I did pull a lot of that from personal experience because my parents, throughout all the years I was growing up and still to this day, disclose a lot to me about their lives and how they felt when they went through certain situations. So it made me comfortable to open up to them about thoughts and things that I had and still have, and use them as a resource for good quality advice. So I found that to be more rewarding than the cost, which could be like embarrassment or awkwardness. But I found the rewards to be more than the cost. So that's what I argue about sex and social penetration theory and the parent-child communication experience. So if that is, the theories that you're looking at, that might be something that you can do, is pull a theory and make it your own in a way where you can take something it wasn't intended for and see if you can apply it to that. And of course, always go through Dr. Frazier, and he's going to have you give him your ideas about your papers. But, he'll tell you if it's way off base or whatever. Don't worry, he will. And I think if you kind of start to think outside the box, it really makes it more interesting and exciting. At least that's what I found. So if you need anything in this class, if you have any questions or you need more resources in any way, again, feel free to contact me by email. I've gave you my phone number on Blackboard. Also, check under the course resources tab because I've posted just some resources and things that I found that I thought would be helpful to you as you go through this class. And as I find things, I'll continue to add those to that section. I think that's it, and I hope you guys have a great week. Please let me know if you have any questions or need anything, and make it a good one.